Let there be lights. Welcome to Holy Shit. This week we're celebrating a very holy shitmas by counting down the top 10 Christmas traditions that originally had nothing to do with the Bible or Christianity. Yeah, even Christians will agree that Christ has certainly been taken out of Christmas. But what if I told you that nearly every detail about Christmas was taken right out of pagan rituals? Yeah, while Christmas is known as the holiday of giving, it's actually the holiday of stealing ideas, traditions, imagery, and really almost everything about it. Of course, this is nothing new. Halloween, Easter, Valentine's Day, Mardi Gras, few holidays don't borrow from earlier historically practiced festivities, but few borrow so unapologetically as Christmas, a blend of the words Christ and Mass, which was originally anything but. So where does Christmas take its cues if not from a newborn savior? Well, primarily the ancient Roman festival of Saturnalia and the ancient Germanic pagan celebration of Yule, as well as traditions of the Celtic Druids, as well as ads from the Coca-Cola company. That being said, does it really make sense for Christians to participate? Does it really make sense that the most well-known and publicized of all Christian holidays should be one based on rituals invented to worship the baby-eating heathen god Saturn? I mean, sure, the Judeo-Christian god kills babies, but he does it humanely, through sky magic. Saturn ate babies. He ate them, and they were his. So, should Christmas be considered blasphemy by Christians? Absolutely. 'Tis the season of giving, so let me give you an education in the top 10 Christmas traditions that have nothing to do with the Bible or Christianity. Number 10.
Caroling. Drinking and being drunk, noise and games and dice, appointing of kings and feasting of slaves, singing naked, clapping of tremulous hands, and occasional ducking of corked faces in icy water. Such are the functions over which I preside. Lucian as Kronos, Saturnalia, 125 CE to after 180 CE.
Little is more synonymous with the Christmas season than Christmas music. And since even the most tone-deaf Mariah Careys out there can belt the majority of these rudimentary reindeer tunes, doing so has become a very popular tradition. And it has been for a long time, dating back to an earlier tradition known as wassailing. Of course, wassailing, and by extension caroling, which were practiced in many European festivities, were not only traditions of singing, but traditions of getting wasted off your fucking ass, roaming in the streets, and being a real vociferous bastard. Men dressed as women, women dressed as men, rich playing poor, poor playing rich, breaking and entering, firing off guns, somebody probably fucked a donkey, I don't know. Shit got crazy. It was said of these traditions that men dishonor Christ more in the 12 days of Christmas than in all 12 months besides. It was damn near the purge. Wassailers just showing up in each other's houses, drinking all their shit. Pure mayhem.
Hey, honey, there's drunken cross-dressers drinking the beer in our garage, toasting in your name. Do you know these people?
What? There's Christmas carolers again already?
They're stealing our apples!
Of course, for many, caroling has always just been about spreading good joy and cheer, which is fine, I guess, until you realize you are no better than the devil for doing so. Satan's soundtrack. Number 9.
The Yule log. That this rejoicing on Christmas Eve had its rise from the Yule and was exchanged for it is evident from a custom practiced in the northern nations of putting a large clog of wood on the fire this evening, which is still called the Yule clog. Beckwith, Gentleman's Magazine, 1784.
A Christmas carol, a Christmas story, It's a Wonderful Life, that channel with the log on fire. We all love our Christmas movies. But one of these Christmas classics is not like the others. That's right, I refer to the log video. Should that log video really be considered a Christmas movie? Maybe not. You may be surprised to find that the Yule log, and pretty much everything with Yule in it, does not actually originate with the holiday of Christmas, but with the holiday of Yule. Should this even be necessary for me to explain? No. To some pagans, the big, long, rigid, erect wood was a symbol of fertility. The sturdy, firm, burning hard log, a prominent phallic symbol, though few still make the association on Christmas today.
Hey, Ruben, would you put another phallic totem on the fire?
Okay, they call them logs these days. I don't know if you heard of them.
Ruben, did you hear Dad? He wants another phallic totem
Oh,
on the
okay.
fire.
How many times do I have to hear my parents say phallic in a row?
It's a phallic
They
totem.
call no, it's a log. Look at this.
It's a phallic totem.
Totem, yeah.
What part of this is phallic? Really, Ford?
phallic totem.
Who says that? No one says that.
I'm saying it. Your dad said it.
Phallic totem.
Of course, it starts out as just a simple log. But once you pour booze on it, light it on fire, and call it a movie, well, you just bought yourself a one-way ticket to hell. Number 8.
Gingerbread men. There were Yule doughs or dows, little images of paste, presented by bakers to their customers. We shall see plenty of parallels to these on the continent. In animal or even human form, they may in some cases have taken the place of actual sacrificial victims. Miles, Christmas in Ritual and Tradition, 1912.
Gingerbread men, or as they're known by their generic name, human effigy biscuits, can possibly be traced back to a popular claim that during Saturnalia celebrants would consume human-shaped biscuits in accord with the human sacrifices to Saturn, the make-believe old man who ate his children upon birth for fear of being overthrown by them. You know there's a word for that? An autopedophage. And if you ask me, you gingerbread heads are no better than one. Oh, but it's just for fun, right? It's just a cookie, right? It's just a fun-shaped cookie, right? Oh, we're just having fun eating human effigies. How fun! You know who else had fun eating human effigies? Witches in Great Britain, who would make gingerbread cookies shaped like their enemies and consume them as some sort of curse or something. So terrifying their consumption of these cookies that in the Netherlands in 1607, Delft made these cookies of the occult illegal. In Malaysia, we see dull models of humans being sacrificed to the spirits, though as far as I can tell, they are not eaten. You see, the Malaysians understand. You don't eat the human effigies, you burn them. And yet most Christians I know actually go out of their way to not burn their gingerbread men. Unbelievable. Run, run, run as fast as you can, but you're still going to hell if you eat the gingerbread man. Number 7.
Mistletoe. A priest, clad in a white robe, climbs the tree and with a golden sickle cuts the mistletoe, which is caught in a white cloth. Then they sacrifice the victims. Pliny the Elder. Natural History, 1st century CE.
Everybody loves a good excuse to steal a kiss, take it from me, a priest. But some kisses, particularly those that happen under a mistletoe, may come at the cost of your eternal soul. Mistletoe is a partially parasitic evergreen shrub that grows in trees instead of on the ground, and as such was held in high regard by many ancient cultures. Pliny the Elder tells us, "The admiration in which the mistletoe was held throughout the Gaul ought not to pass unnoticed. The Druids, for so they call their wizards, esteem nothing more sacred than the mistletoe and the tree in which it grows." Sounds like a bunch of witchcraft to me. And the Druids were far from the only ones. Many European and Asian cultures held the mistletoe in such high regard that it was believed to be an all-healing miracle plant, capable of making barren women and animals fertile. Of course, modern science has revealed its medicinal properties to be mere superstition, but medicine was far from its only purported use. Ancient Italians and Swedish peasants were among those who considered it a fire extinguisher and would hang it from their ceilings as good fortune and protection from harm. Mistletoe was also known to the ancient pagans through the myth of Balder, son of Odin, brother of Thor, who was killed by mistletoe after Loki tricked Hother into shooting some at him because mistletoe was the only weapon that didn't swear to Balder it wouldn't hurt him. Somehow that's a little less romantic than what most of us have come to associate mistletoe with, but hey, whatever gets you laid, right?
In honor of Boulder.
What'd you just say?
In honor of Boulder. What?
Why can't we just have a normal kiss for once?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that Boulder, son of Odin, brother of Thor, wasn't killed by mistletoe. Oh, wait, that's because he was. So why don't we show a little respect before slobbering all over each other's faces?
Mistletoe has got to go. Number 6.
The Christmas tree. Vanity. A tree from the forest is cut down and worked with an axe. They decorate it with silver and gold. They fasten it with hammer and nails so that it cannot move. Do not be afraid of them, for they cannot do evil. Neither is it in them to do good. Jeremiah 10, 3-5.
And speaking of heathenry, ho ho, well, right in the Bible itself says it plain as day, learn not the way of the heathen. And what was the way of the heathen, even before the time of Jesus? Why, it was the way of cutting down trees and decorating their branches to look pretty. You know, the devil's work. And while it was the Germans and British who popularized the idea of bringing the whole damn tree into your house in the 1800s, the evergreen tree was long used in pagan celebrations during the winter solstice as a symbol of strength and perseverance through the winter, while its branches remained green as other trees became bare. Unfortunately, the hardships of winter are nothing compared to the hardships of hell, which is surely where you're headed if you keep up this biblically forbidden tradition. Number 5.
Christmas lights. As the trains between New York and Philadelphia approached Menlo Park, the passengers were drawn into a brilliant nighttime spectacle. The lighting display, a good example of Edison's shrewd self-promotion, was the sensation of the season. Sloat, The Wizard of Your Christmas Tree, 2003.
And the lights? Although bonfires and the lighting of candles amongst the evergreens were commonly practiced historically, the lights that fill our neighborhoods today actually began as a marketing ploy of Thomas Edison's in 1880 to try to sell more of his new incandescent light bulbs. They were a new thing at one point.
Hey Edison, we're not selling enough of this revolutionary technology with nearly limitless application. We're doomed if we can't come up with a plan to make more money. What do we do?
Well, how do we get more funding? Well, what the deuce do the churches do?
Repackage pagan traditions as their own and make every attempt at snuffing out actual history.
Repackage existing ideas, you say?
Yes.
And snuffing out actual history. Well, wouldn't be the first time I've done it.
Oh, fuck Tesla, right?
So what's left? Well, they look pretty. Pretty damn indicative of whether or not you're going to hell for venerating pagan celebrations. Fuck you, Thomas Edison. You tricked me. Number 4.
Santa Claus. Thor was represented as an elderly man, jovial and friendly, of heavy build, with a long white beard. His color red. He was said to live in the Northland, his palace among icebergs. He was said to come down through the chimney into his element, fire. Gerber, Myths of Northern Lands, 1895.
Santa Claus isn't in the Bible. He never met Jesus. He was and is not real. He has more in common with Odin and Thor than St. Nicholas of Myra, a city in Turkey, and he sports a look largely popularized by a carbonated beverage company. This is an easy one. Call Nick Kimball.
A Charles Ramsey actor.
Yeah, I'm looking for Nick Kimball, actually. The guy, he played Santa Claus in a number of our productions.
Yes, this is Nick Kimball.
Okay. Nick Kimball? You're fired. Number 3.
The Three Magi. Then, opening their treasures, they offered him gifts, gold, and frankincense, and myrrh. And being warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they departed to their own country by another way. Matthew 2:11 and 12.
So Santa Claus isn't real, but you already knew that. Santa Claus isn't in the Bible. You already knew that. But what about the Bible? Might the Bible stretch the truth a little bit itself? Let's examine 3 of the Nativity's most iconic figures outside of the little Lord baby Jesus himself, the 3 Magi. In Matthew, the only gospel to make mention of the Magi, the author writes of King Herod learning of the birth of Jesus, despite the fact that Herod died in 4 BC, where BC stands for before Christ, But anyway, Herod learns of the birth of Jesus. Sure, we'll go with that. Maybe we fudge the date. And he sends some magi, doesn't specify 3, but hey, why not assume fairy tale tropes? And the magi journey to see Jesus in his home and present him with gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Of course, 1 carried each. And then the magi are warned in a dream to avoid Herod and return to their own home by way of a different route. Okay, so what is a magi? Let's be clear. Well, it's not a magi, it's a magus, like from Chrono Trigger. Magi is the plural form of magus, as with cactus and cacti. And a magus is a Zoroastrian priest or a wizard, like from Chrono Trigger, if you want to go with the secular definition. Now, besides the suggestion that non-Christian, non-Jewish, pagan holy men were capable of magic, even in accepting this inconsistent lore and the historical inaccuracies, let's be real. Can we not see this bullshit for what it is? This guy, Matthew, in his contribution to starting a religion, was stating that the holy men of an existing, respected religion, Zoroastrianism, were bowing before their god. You know, a marketing ploy to appeal to the Jews of the time who respected the Persian Magi. Matthew is nothing but another Thomas Edison hawking his shit by appealing to people's desire to experience something miraculous. So let's not kid ourselves. Whether modern or ancient, the one thing Christmas has always been about is getting shit sold. Alright, you pagan wizards are out. Didn't you read the story? You're supposed to go to the house after Balthazar, Melchior, and Gaspar. Number 2.
The miraculous birth. He stole any hope of offspring by imposing perpetual virginity on her. When she was raped and gave birth to twins, she named Mars as the father, either because she believed it was so, or because a god was more respectable as the author of the deed. Livy, History of Rome, circa 20 BC.
Okay, so we've gotten rid of all the decorations, all the customs, some of the fictional characters, all that Zoroastrian bullshit. Now we can focus on the reason for the season itself, the story of Jesus. Nothing weird about that, right? I mean, other than the 3 magi, but we ditched those guys, right? Nothing weird left about this virgin birth. Jesus Christ, Son of God, was born of a virgin. That's the Christmas narrative. We can go 2 directions with this. Jesus was actually born of a virgin, magically seated by a god, which is utterly ridiculous, or this is just a story, and either Mary and Joseph conceived Jesus themselves, or the whole thing is completely fabricated. Either case in which we now have 0 accounts of Jesus' birth. Okay, wait. Okay, so this is an account of Jesus' birth, right? Sure, he was the Son of God. He could have been born by a miracle. I mean, surely the mortal birth of the one and only God would be a once-in-an-eternity event. Why couldn't he be born to a woman who never had sex? Why not? I mean, he's the Son of God. The pages told me. Okay, so if Jesus, Son of God, was conceived miraculously and independently of intercourse in the year 0, then what about the Romans' claim that Romulus, founder of Rome, was born to a Vestal virgin as the son of the god Mars in roughly 750 before Christ? Or the Egyptians' claim that Horus, son of Osiris, was born to Isis without conception 3,000 years or more before Christ? Or the Greeks' claim that Perseus, son of Zeus, was born to the virgin Danae after being showered in gold by Zeus? Or that Dionysius, also son of Zeus, was miraculously born to the mortal Semele as early as 1500 before Christ. Or the Greeks claim that Attis of Phrygia was born of a nymph impregnated by an almond, which doesn't sound much like sex to me.
Honey, you coming to bed?
Yeah, just a minute.
Almonds! Warning, contact with womb may cause pregnancy.
Bottom line, the author of Matthew is not the first or the last person to come up with this. And I think the numerous stories of miraculous births from other faiths predating Christianity are enough to invalidate this obviously fictional claim. Not just the Magi, the whole nativity is bullshit. number 1.
December 25th. At the winter solstice, the sun would seem to be a little child, like that which the Egyptians bring forth from a shrine on an appointed day, since the day is then at its shortest, and the god is accordingly shown as a tiny infant. Macrobius, Saturnalia, 395 to 423 CE.
Also, the date itself, besides not being the likely date in the story, considering it mentions shepherds in fields, which would not have been so in the winter, was also variably first the approximate or exact same birth date given to the Egyptian god Horus, and Osiris, and Mithra, and Attis, Heracles, Hercules, Dionysus, Adonis, Krishna, Tammuz, Buddha, Quetzalcoatl, and more, but not Jesus. Or at least not Jesus in any more of a meaningful sense than any of the other gods attached to this date. Quite frankly, as a Christian, to even celebrate on this day, the birthday of 1,000 gods, and pretend that it's Jesus' birthday is just plain sinful. And it doesn't make sense. Why would we celebrate his not birthday on his not birthday? And think of the children. What if they were born on December 25th? Oh, sorry, little Jessica, but Jesus' fake birthday is more important. We've just been plain assholes, us priests. And as a priest, I now find Christmas to be an invalid holiday. I reject it and its premise, and I shall cast it out of my life. Okay? No more decorations. No more celebrations. No more songs. No more presents. No more cookies. No more Christmas ham, or Christmas boar, Yule boar, family. No more pretty lights, mistletoe sex, whatever. I don't need any of that shit. What do I need Christmas for? I'll be just fine without Christmas, okay? Don't need that. Merry nothing, okay? It's over. Christmas is canceled. Bah, freaking humbug!
The stars are brightly shining. It is the night of our dear Savior's birth.
No, it's not.
Long lay the world in sin and error pining, till he appeared and the soul felt its worth. Yonder grace, a new and glorious morn. Fall on your knees, hear the angel voices. Oh, was born. Oh, night,
Dr. Reverend Price, you came!
But once a year.
But I thought that Christmas was meaningless.
Oh, it is. Very much so. But so is life in general, so who cares? Why not celebrate it if you want?
You mean I can still do things, even if they don't have a religious significance?
Of course. Gather round, everyone, all both far and near, to hear the story of the ancient pagan Germanic god Yule. It was the night before Weihnachtstag, and all through the Kallen house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The sacrifices were hung by the Yule log with care in hopes that Yule bringer would soon be there. Mama and her work Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good bite.
To all, did you say good bite? To all a good bite?
A good bite to eat. Let's go get a bite to eat. The Chinese buffet is probably still open.
Nice. Getting the almonds? I saw the skit with the almonds. Chris Shea correct. A good bite to eat. Let's go get a bite to eat.